Today on the Roundhouse, we're going to take a look ahead at 2018. All aboard!
In days past, the roundhouse was where the railroad worker united with the steam locomotive, each to prepare for the journey ahead. Today, it's where we examine the history, the industry, the machines, the hobby, and the passion behind railroading. News, interviews, stories, and more. So climb aboard. This is The Roundhouse.
Welcome to The Roundhouse. I'm your host, Nick Kozarek, and this is mini-sode number 4 of our Trains and Railroading podcast, where we're talking about everything in the industry and the hobby. You name it, we discuss it. And today, we're gonna take it a little slower. We're gonna take it a little shorter, so that I don't rant too much. But I wanted to take an opportunity to catch up with you guys as a way of seeing what you thought 2017, reflecting back on that, and looking ahead at what 2018 has to offer and what you guys want to see in 2018. I know I say every week, you name it, we discuss it, to the point where it could potentially not mean anything, but believe me, it does, because there's just too much stuff in this hobby to keep track of. Whether it's real railroading, modeling, simulation, there's all these niches, and I'm continually discovering new things that I look at, I think I want to cover on the show, but you guys know so much as well. So let's take a quick look at the year in review, as highlighted by you guys. First, from Thomas Saunders, catching up with the guy from Australia. That was a great episode, talking to Jim Ward from Australia. He used to operate heavy iron ore trains over the Pilbaras of Western Australia. Always a piece of railroading that I was very curious about. He did a great job covering that. Then from Haley Enoch, I think it was this one, the Joliet Rocket. Joliet Rocket was an amazing event. It was partially because of the way in which I was able to cover it. Kelly Lynch had called me in advance, and we discussed this possibility of not just doing another sort of synopsis of what had happened with interviews, but trying to backdate it with the old-timey radio feel. And I could bring up my announcer voice, and all of that was a lot of fun. I hope something along the lines comes along for 2018 and in different parts of the country as well. Finally, from Rich Gruber, Robin Coombs. Yes, Robin was a fantastic guest, amazing photographer from the UK. I don't care what corner of the world you come from. You look at his photos, you will become a massive fan of British Steam, and his perspective on it is equally fascinating. Definitely a great guest. A lot of great guests this year. Too many to list, but I don't have to. You could go to theroundhousepodcast.com and catch up if you haven't. That's an easy way to check it out. So now let's have a look ahead at 2018 and what you guys want to see. First, from Dan Smalley, who, by the way, is a Patreon subscriber, which means that he is helping to support the show financially and in return get some cool perks. So Dan, thank you so much for your support. This year is the Triennial Meet at Train Mountain in Oregon. 7.5 gauge railroaders from all over the world come together at the world's largest miniature railroad for a week of miniature trains. Good suggestion, Dan. I've wanted to do that size of train and live steam and things along those lines. I can't believe we haven't done a live steam episode yet. We really do need to put that on the radar for 2018. I don't know if I'll be able to make it out for that event, but if there was somebody involved in the organizing of it that would come on the show, that is worth looking into. And this from Andrew Treese. How about getting Robert Dingman on the show to talk about the FPAs and share some of his early railroading stories? Good suggestion, Andrew, partially because Robert's company was involved, the New York and Lake Erie, that is, was involved in operating trains out of my hometown of Meadville back in the late 90s, including excursion service. So I've met him in person. Very nice guy. I'm sure he'd come on the show, and I'm sure he'd be an interesting guest. And a lot of other suggestions out there pertaining to trips. 611 came up. Yes, I know we are overdue to do another 611 episode, so there will be another 611 episode. Union Pacific Steam came up. That's going to be big in 2018, even bigger in 2019, but yes, definitely worth covering as well. Mainline steam in general is always very interesting to see what crops up. So good suggestions all around. Here is my perspective on 2018. I am confident that 2018 is going to bring not just some of the best events and episodes that we've ever done on the Roundhouse, but we're going to be exploring some new things and doing some new things here that have never been done before anywhere else. In fact, I'm looking at 2 projects right now. The first one is something that, let's just say I've been listening to it a lot lately. It's not an episode that's going to be coming up, but it's something I've been listening to a lot, and I'm very eager to share that with you. And that'll be out hopefully within the first few months of this year. And the second project, I'm looking at it right now. And that one, I'm hoping to announce on our 3-year anniversary in February. And wow, 3 years of doing this? That's really incredible to think. And this project, the thing that I'm looking at in this project, you've never seen something done like this before. And it's going to be really cool to see where that goes. What I will tell you concretely that we've got lined up, our next episode is Kylie McLaughlin. She is the general manager for the Western New York and Pennsylvania Railroad. We talked to the president of the railroad, Carl Belke, a couple years back. Kylie was one of several guests on the Santa Train episode at the start of this past year. So she's going to be coming on for a full episode to talk about her perspective on railroad management, women in railroading, and Alcos. And who doesn't love an episode about Alcos? So she's our next guest. Some others that I'm lining up as well. Going to be some very interesting historical episodes coming up. And hopefully some main steam coming up. And what I can confirm, and this I could be very specific about, for those of you who know me for At the Rail Yard, the virtual railroading review series I started several years ago, even before the Roundhouse, I am very happy to confirm that there will be a new episode of At the Rail Yard coming out in the very near future. It will be the Bessemer and Lake Erie Railroad. There is currently being a route developed by a company called G-Trax of the Bessemer and Lake Erie back in the 1920s. And being that this railroad is literally very near and dear to me, and that it's very close to where I live, and it's a very unusual era to see modeled in a train simulator, I knew I had to take this one on. So that review, I can't give a date, partially because it's not out yet, but I can confirm that there will be another At the Rail Yard episode, and it's going to be exciting to do that. So those are some of the things to look forward to in 2018. And you know how I say at the end of every episode, the Roundhouse is our house? Well, it really is. I mean, I'm the host of the show, yes, but this is really our show. This isn't just about what I think makes for a good episode. I mean, you guys have so much perspective on what you do if railroading's your career, if you work for a tourist railroad or a museum or you volunteer there. You know what the good stories are. You live those good stories. And my goal is just to bring that to a larger audience, because that's the fun of it. You discover so much and you learn so much. I've learned a ton through hosting this show, and I hope that you have through listening. It's a continual adventure, and so where we go in 2018 is partially up to you guys. When you submit episodes, I try to reach out to those people. Sometimes I don't hear back. Very rarely do they actually say no. That I'm thankful for. But sometimes it takes a while to get them scheduled. There's some that I've been working for months to get on the books, and I'm still working with them. So sometimes it's just a matter of taking time. But I want to go where you want to go. So if you have an episode idea, there's somebody you say, Nick, you got to talk to this guy. You got to talk to this woman. She knows her kit. Put me in touch with them, or just point me in the right direction. Shoot me a message through social media, theroundhousepodcast.com. There's a contact us form there. There's my email, Nick Ozorek at theroundhousepodcast.com. But yes, I know Ozorek, O-Z-O-R-E-K, doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue when you're writing out an email address. Point is, you can contact me through multiple forms, and I'm very open and receptive to where you want to go. And it means so much to have you join me every single time we release an episode on this journey. It's not just about this place, then that place, then this person, then that person. It's all connected. It's all a story. And that's only going to be more true as we go further into the future and we talk to even more of you. So thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for all of your support. If you're supporting us on Patreon, even $1 a month, thank you. Having that financial support means a lot as well, because this is a side gig to the main 9-to-5 job that I work. And everything you do has meant so much. When I get to meet you at events, that is really special. So I hope that you've had a great holiday season 2017. I hope 2018 brings you a really train-tastic year. I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's true. Whatever it is that you do to enjoy this hobby or enjoy your work, live it fully. That's the best thing I can offer you. And hopefully this podcast offers a little bit of entertainment and information along the way. You guys are awesome. And remember, as always, that the roundhouse is our house.